Hello, everybody. Welcome to New Earth Rising. We are so happy you're watching this. We're so happy that you're here. And I am Michele Ambergy. I'm the Awakener, one of many. And if you're being drawn here, chances are you are one too. Because as an Awakener, it's all about awakening ourselves. It's all about being conscious, about being in that love space and that beautiful energy of learning and growing and expanding. And I'm here with my bestie right here in the New Earth Rising. We're creating New Earth together with you guys, my darling beloved shenanigator Sharon. And so it's so fun. We always have so much fun. We got some really fun topics for you too. So Sharon, I'm always, as always, just so honored to get to be here and be doing this with you. We make great co-hostesses.
We
So much
do.
fun.
I know. And I'm just as honored, Michele. I mean, we are total sisters of the heart and soul.
Totally.
So, right. Thank you. And I am very happy to be here again with my sister, Michele. We've got some really cool stuff to talk about today.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to have some fun. And one of the things everybody needs to be aware of is we are in this 8/8 Lionsgate portal. A lot of people think it happens on August 8th. It doesn't. It opens about 10 days before, closes about 10 days after. It's like at its apex or invex. I don't know what the word is for it. At its most potent on the 8th, which is Monday, coming up on Monday, August 8th. And I wanted to read to you guys a little something about what it's about, because there's a lot to know about this kind of energy. You know, we have little mini energy portals and that throughout the day, or throughout the year. The full moon is one, the new moon is one, you know, when the astrological signs shift is one. So we have this going on all the time. But the Lion's Gate is especially potent, and I'm going to read to you why. Because it affects all of our universe. It's a universal portal that is being created that's super powerful. So, and I'm going to read it and because I wanted to make sure I got all the information. So the Lion's Gate is a time of increased cosmic energy flowing between the physical and the spiritual realms. This astrological and spiritual gateway has roots that go back to ancient Egypt, and for thousands of years has been observed and honored as a time of great energetic influx and activation. The 8/8 Lionsgate portal is marked by the numerology of 8/8, which is the sun's presence in the astrological sign of Leo, the lion. So that's why they call it Lion's Gate, because it's in the sign of Leo. And it's also aligns with the rising of the star Sirius on our horizon. As the star Sirius rises in the sky, Orion's belt directly aligns with the Pyramid of Giza. And from our perspective on Earth, it appears that Sirius, the brightest star we can see, comes closer to the Earth. And for a little perspective, the star Sirius is twice the size of our sun and 26 times brighter. So that's why it has been called the great central sun. It's also called the spiritual sun. And so it really has profound and powerful energies because it's a source of spiritual light. And that's why this portal is so important. And what you're doing during and what your consciousness is where you're focusing your consciousness is really, really important. So specifically, the energies of Sirius in this gateway are focused on soul embodiment, abundance, yay, harvest, and fertility, which means that the time around the 8/8 Lion's Gate is powerful for manifestation, love, and prosperity. Everything we want, right? If you're looking for healing and stuff, manifest that healthy body. So it's called Lion's Gate because it occurs in the sign of Leo, which is the lion. And the lion is about courage of the heart. It's about opening the heart. It's about being heart-centered. It's about having that energy of the love. And we talk about that all the time. It's love is the most important and potent energy that we can be working with. And as we're in this world that's gone crazy, we need to be in that love space to keep our center and be centered in that. This Leo energy is the perfect stage to anchor the ascension codes and energies of higher consciousness. So there are codes that are coming in from Sirius, okay? And it broadcasts through the star Sirius and through the great central sun. So with this alignment, when this alignment happens, there's an intense surge of light, which awakens DNA, activates the human energy field, and transmits high vibrational frequencies and codes for awakening. So the light codes of ascension, mastery, and evolution from Sirius, sometimes called the spiritual sun, right? Pour towards Earth, offering humanity another level of activation, and opportunity for progression on the ascension path. So it's really important that we're using this time, and it starts about 10 days before, 10 days after. So you got 20 days here of using this energy to advance your spirituality, advance your consciousness, really focus on what are you manifesting, because you need to be focusing on what you want to manifest in order to have it manifest. You can't manifest something if you're focusing on what's happening in the world, right? If you're going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you're not going to be manifesting your perfect and beautiful desire and dream. And so right now, above all else, it's so important. And something we have to remember too is the flip side of all of this. Those that may not want us to be ascending are also using this energy. And so it's really, really important that we really stand true to ourselves, true to our heart, stay in our heart center, be extra kind, extra patient to yourself first and to the world around you. And when we have this kind of energy, when it hits the unconscious field of some humans, we can see crazy behavior, right? We're already seeing, like, I'm in Southern California, and like car chases and robberies and like intense stuff, not your like normal stuff. It's really intense stuff because people kind of start going crazy. We want to send blessing and love to that in those situations, but we don't want to be focusing our energy on that, because if we are, we're feeding that kind of consciousness, and we don't want to do that. Our energy is sacred and it's potent and it's important, and we want to be focusing on what we want, like a world of peace, a world of harmony. I want some money. I want love. I want joy and peace and happiness. I want my family to be healthy and happy, my friends to be healthy and happy. And so we want to be focusing on that, especially during this gateway. Also, it lines up with the Great Pyramid. And with that alignment, the Great Pyramid was designed to hold frequencies across the whole planet, and it's connected with all these different pyramids around the planet, but it's kind of the central of it, which is part of that lining up with the Sirius star system. And so right now, that pyramid is receiving all these codes and all this information and all of this energy right now, and so it's affecting the whole planet. And so we have to realize that it's not just, oh, I'm getting codes. It's like it's worldwide, and it's coming down through the universe to get here. And that the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, is so important because it is consciousness. It is the representation of consciousness. And so let's use it wisely. Let's use it wisely. And I know Sharon and I were talking before, because she came in with something to talk about, and I came in with something to talk about. We're like, oh my gosh, they intersect so beautifully. It's one of the beautiful things about a relationship and about this show, is we're always bringing in stuff that's supporting each other. It's so weird. It's like a miracle, man.
Yeah. And with the Lionsgate, thank you, Michelle, definitely and for helping us all understand what it's all about. In the way I see it too, is that we, during these times, and always, I guess, but still, especially during these times of the Lionsgate conjuncture, it's important for us to watch our thoughts. And if we find ourselves focusing on fear, focusing on, like you said, what we don't want, like just the law of attraction.
Yep.
Basically the law of attraction. If we find ourselves focusing on what we don't want, then that because of the immense influx of light, it can create a whammy on us more than usual.
Yep.
So as we're bringing in that light and and what I understand from the law of one, we can only take as much light as we can take, right? And the more we're resonating with light, the more we're in our positive,
Oh yeah.
as we walk through our day with our positive thoughts and things like that, and remembering to, you know, to bring in gratitude, to focus on what we want to bring into our life, the more light we are able to hold within our physical vehicle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know so many of our viewers are rather advanced beings. And so they're going, yeah, we're all going to be getting this huge influx. Another thing that happens too, we can take what we can take, but sometimes our energy fields can almost be a little bit like storage facilities for things that, for energies too. And that's what, when we're talking about like keys and codes and little things that are held in our field that we get to certain times, and all of a sudden these things unlock in our field. This is what happens too, is we get some stuff that is actually unlocking what is we've already received, but also creating coding in our fields that we will then unlock into the future too.
Yes.
And the Lion's Gate is a huge gateway for this, and it is a gateway that connects with all of the other stargates and gateways and wormholes in the entire universe. Our entire universe is a great big huge grid of geometrical shapes and stargates and wormholes, and I'm sure words that we've never heard before. The CERN is connected to all of that too. We actually have literally a gateway in mechanical form here on our planet that we know of, right? That is connected to all of that too. So we know even more that we're connected. And so that's where that universal connection with all this is. And it's so exciting. It's so exciting.
Yeah, you can just feel as we move closer and closer to the our ascension, as we're moving closer and closer to moving up in frequency, moving up, it gets more and more intense. Each Lion's Gate seems to get more and more intense.
Yes.
Right. You might find your meditations become more intense or deeper, and you also might find that you're more scattered, kind of thing, you know what I mean? And so that's the perfect time to realize, okay, I'm taking in a lot of light, so I need to sit with it, do some breath work or something, and bring it, be able to anchor it, like you were talking about, Michelle, anchor it in your body, and sit with it for a while.
Yeah. And sit with it in the heart, because in the physical body, the heart is the Lion's gateway, basically.
There you go.
So we're centering in that. And, you know, we have an infinite within us too. As we become aware of it, we unlock that to where we can take more in, but it all starts with the heart. It's our own little portal. It's our own little gateway that we have to our soul and to our infinite within too. And so anchor into that heart, be in the heart, use that courage of the lion, and to keep that there, and it will embolden you too. It's also a time where we're receiving a little to take some steps, to make some changes, to facilitate maybe some changes that need to be made on the planet, maybe to begin to work a little bit more towards, you know, a new earth vision. I'm noticing a lot of new earth leaders and these kind of groups are popping up like all over the place, people gathering together to begin to envision and plan for this new earth that we're heading towards, this ascension place, you know, that we're headed towards. And so, and we don't really have the words to even talk about what it is.
Right. Yeah.
We're just using the best we can, right?
Right. Yeah. And you know, and it's all about understanding energy and light and all of that. And like you were saying about courage, and this is the perfect time to step outside our comfort zone and maybe do something that we always wanted to do, but didn't have, you know, I'm not gonna say you didn't have the courage, but didn't feel it was the right time, or didn't, you know, or there was some blocks or fears in the way, getting in the way. So Lionsgate would be a perfect time to bring in that energy. And so I see it as the new moon and the full moon times 100 together.
Yeah, exactly. And the solstices and the equinox. I mean, we have them so often, but
Yeah.
This is a big one. And because it is centered, with the central sun, the Sirius, and with the heart, this is what it's about with the
Right,
lion.
right. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that we got that down, we know exactly what to do during this portal, this influx.
And also, just really quick, on 8/8 in my Soulful Living Tribe on Facebook, I'm doing a little live thing too. So if anybody wants to
Nice.
come and meditate on that, you're very, very welcome.
Cool.
Would love to have you join us. It's a complimentary. I'm doing it just to get all you folks together so we can all focus on some love for a little bit.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I wanted to bring up something that's has been brought to my attention three or four times, I guess, and that's about the false light. There's some talk about that. If you haven't heard about it, those out there that are watching, and it was brought to my attention again recently. Another practitioner was want to know my thoughts on it, and we ended up having this similar thoughts on it. But the false light is some practitioners and people who are aware have been bringing through information and about the fact that maybe for quite a while now, thousands of years perhaps, since the malevolent ETs have taken control of humanity as a slave race, that they have used technology to create a portal, a tunnel of false light where we there's this karmic, or not karmic, but reincarnation, recycling
Yeah.
of souls to keep us us in a slave master type of scenario over and over and over. And when I first heard about this, it scared the bejesus out of me. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I do spirit rescue work very often. And so I'm like, am I sending these people, these lost souls, into a false light?
Right.
But I did soul searching, talked to my guidance many, many times. And what I got was, your intention is everything, and you are not sending them anywhere to trap them. They're not being trapped.
Yeah.
You're sending them to a true light, the true light. Okay. Or not sending, but allowing that to happen, allowing them to make that choice. Right. Whereas the other is not a choice, I understand. So I also was sharing with Michele before we came on, when I first started waking up, even before I heard about this false light, I had these terror-filled thoughts of being trapped on this lower plane compared to what I was used to, my soul was used to. I mean, absolute terror, and didn't know how to get out of here, kind of thing. I realized that now that I was tapping into, my soul may have been screaming out for that, and I was tapping into a collective also, I believe, of what was happening. But I wanted to talk about, and for us to talk about, how we can get off that loop and recognize it. Now, someone I do follow every once in a while, and I have a couple of her books, I've talked about her before, Elena Denon, who claims to have contact with the Galactic Federation of Worlds and the human extraterrestrials and other extraterrestrials. She does say that technology has been dismantled, that the bad ETs have used to keep us trapped in 3D, which I hope is true. And there's also a Star Trek episode about it with Captain Janeway, which scared the crap out of me when I watched that episode too. When I was watching the series, I just watched the series this last year. But anyway, it's a scary episode where an ET is projected as her father. She dies, and an ET is projected as her father, and she thinks it's her father, and he's saying, come with me, come into the light, everything's better. And she's watching, and she's on the Earth plane watching all the crew have their memorial service, and she wants to stay around and watch that. And she goes, they need my help. I have to stay here. They need my help. He says, no, you need to come with me. And he gets actually gets upset with her because she won't leave with him. And then when she finally says, well, wait a minute, he says, you have to come. Anyway, she gets the idea that he's maybe not benevolent, that this is, if she has a choice, then he would have, if something along the lines of, he can't make her, she has to choose it.
Right,
He can't make her
exactly.
go. Yeah. And when she realizes this, he turns into this really ugly ET, and then everything disappears. And they end up bringing her back. So so they were trying to at that time. So she had a near-death experience is basically what happened. But I'm like, and then, and then I hear this information about this false light and the portal. And also, if anyone's familiar with remote viewing and Courtney Brown and the Farsight Institute, the remote viewers for his institute did some remote viewing on it.
Yeah.
And apparently confirmed it, kind of thing. But my and Michelle, if you could give your insights on it as well. My insights on it, and again, I did soul searching and talked to my guidance, is that we do have a choice on whether we want to reincarnate or not. Okay, especially now. We can still, onto 3D.
Mm-hmm.
We can still work with the earth plane from the higher planes from 5D, right? I believe that was the old way of things happening, where, like Journey of Souls with Michael Newton. In that book, he talks about the guides, preparing, talking to us and preparing us for another reincarnation on the planet. And I believe that his clients were people who had not awakened yet, that kind of thing. So we were going through that, right? That reincarnation cycle, and we don't have to do that anymore. Mm-mm. So I realized that the more aware we are here, the more aware we are when we transition.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of what we're all going through right now, is this awakening. Is we're awakening from the trap, if we can use that word, of that cycle. That's what that whole reincarnation thing was. It probably was what those ETs did. I mean, we're amazing souls, but if we can be kept kind of blind and dumb and not realizing what we're doing, and get trapped in a lot of belief systems, it's what a great way to recycle our amazing selves back and back and back, sucking us back in. And I know in doing spirit relief and spirit rescue, I've run across spirits a lot that are like, I'm not going to the light. And it's like, why not? Why not go to the light? Well, when Sharon brought this up, and I had heard this before with the Keylontic sciences, that I studied that, and actually just like last year, started studying it and about how it's been an entrapment. And it helps me to understand why some of these beings, no wonder they're like, I'm not going to the light. And I kind of have to talk them into it's like, no, this light is good. And I'm just coming into an understanding. No wonder they didn't want to. There was something of their own consciousness that knew that light's not the right light. I'm not going into the light. Right.
Okay.
Right.
The light you brought, but the light you brought would
not
be
not the light I brought, the light that they had experienced before.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. And then when we come in and we're, and I do it, we're, go now with Jesus and the angels who stand before you in the light. And they were kind of like, man, I don't think so. Well, now I understand more why they would be so opposed to the light, because they experienced the false light.
Huh. That's weird that they remembered it. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. And I will ask them, just feel the truth of this light, feel the presence of Jesus and the angels, and feel that. And they always move over once that they kind of like, I'll even tell them, they don't even have bodies, like take a breath, relax into it.
They think they still have bodies.
Will guide you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, totally. And William Buhlman, who is one of my biggest teachers with out-of-body experiences, and people who are out-of-body travelers may know him, he says, when even in your out of body experiences and when you transition, always try to make it to your highest self. Go to your higher self. Make that affirmation. Go to your highest guides. Always the highest place you can go, right? And keep that in your mind at all times. And whether that be God, whether that be Jesus, whatever it is, the highest you can go.
Whatever your pronoun is for God, right?
God is God. And that's why it's so important for us to have that awareness here, to have that faith and have that connection, so that we don't get duped, maybe. And I hope Elena Danon's right, but if she isn't, there may be people that and I always felt that we came back here to heal and grow. And so we still have that going on, at least, right? But if they keep us where we don't have any of our memories anymore, and they keep us dumbed down, right, all the time, and in that stressed out, trying to make a living, doing and just worried about money, worried about this, worried about that all the time, then we don't have the time to work on our spiritual growth. Right. And so I believe that was the whole plan for a long time, but things are happening now where it's changing. And with the Great Awakening and the frequencies moving up, and the Lion's Gate, I believe, has so much to do with all of the false light being exposed.
And we're seeing exposed all of the false, everything being exposed. I mean, we don't even know our own history.
Right.
Keeping the history of humanity away from us has been a huge thing that has kept us in that loop, right? Most people don't even know who we are. Right. I mean, we're gods. We're creators. We're maybe not the God, but we are children of God, if you will. You have the spirit, the breath of God running through you. You're a creator too.
I believe we are the God in our expression.
In an individual expression.
Expressing through us.
It's so funny because I'm very much about, I am God. I am that I am.
Yeah.
And then it was funny. I had this little thought come through. It's like, Lucifer said that too. And look what happened to him. And I was like, ooh.
Oh, wow.
And so it's kind of like I kind of went, no, wait a minute. I'm not claiming I'm God, the only one.
But he chose it. I mean, Lucy, everyone chooses it. He chose that. Whatever he's doing.
But it's understanding an individuated expression.
Right. Expression. He's still an expression of God.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He fell very,
the others, there's light and dark. We have to have dark to have light, vice versa.
And he's on his ascension pathway too. He's doing his part of all of this. I mean, look at, not to glorify the whole thing at all, but look at the exposure and what we're learning now from the nefarious things that they've been doing and the influx of light of those of us, that are here, that are awakening. It's like, it's all being exposed. Right.
And that's been hidden for so long.
And our light's being exposed. It's all in perfect divine order.
Right.
It's kind of like, holy hell, but it's in perfect divine order.
I know. It has to happen. It has to happen in order to take the blinders off, in order to get us up off our knees and take off the handcuffs and the shackles and take off the blindfold. It has to happen, and take off, and the muzzle and the blindfold and everything.
And the earmuffs.
All of it. Monkey see, the monkey thing. Yeah, totally. Not monkeypox, monkey thing. I know, right?
Don't talk to me about the monkey thing. Well, and one thing that's really interesting that I've been kind of playing with and listening to information about is the whole information about Tartaria, which is a very advanced civilization that
I've heard of that.
Was fairly modern, and something happened to it. We don't know, but they're starting to find evidence of a great, huge mud flow that buried all kinds of information, all kinds of stuff. And it's like, We're not taught that in school. What the heck is this? When did this happen? And it's thought maybe in the last 800-900 years it could have happened. There are some people that are saying that our timelines have actually been shifted, that we really haven't been here the full 2000 years, or maybe longer.
More.
We've been,
I feel we've
right?
been here longer. Yeah.
I kind of do too.
Yeah.
We've been here forever. But it's interesting because it's like there's all this stuff that we're having physical proof of that we don't talk about. Giants, the giant trees. They're starting to find that there's mountains that when they're doing like DNA testing on, they're like, these aren't rocks, they're trees.
Yeah. Wow.
And they're huge.
You can look at, or I may, a lot of people are able to look at boulders and rocks and things like that and mountains and see what they have been petrified from. You know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of thing. Yeah. And I believe that we've had a few resets on this planet.
Yeah. Oh, we had to have.
Well, Noah is
Noah,
the story of Noah and the Great Flood is one of them, obviously. But like the mud floods you were talking about, there's a documentary called The Lost History of the World, I guess, where he talks about one in the 1800s.
Yeah, I've heard that. I think it might have been you and I talking about it.
Okay, yeah. And there's mud that some of the buildings that have with the lower windows are covered with mud, and they have to dig them out. And it was he also talks about that some of the buildings with the domes on them were power
source,
power grids, power sources for electricity.
Yep.
Which it was Tesla's type of stuff. Yeah.
And all the spires they're all by on water. Everything. Everybody thought they were lightning rods or pretties. Yes. They're all sharing energy.
Yes. And they're all near water, so they use that as a conductor and to create electricity. And they actually lit up these huge world fairs. There's pictures of it.
Yeah.
There's proof of it.
And there's giants in the pictures.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Where are the giants? What happened to the giants?
Wow.
There's so much that we don't know, that there's, evidence is starting to pop up. And they're finding these books and these ancient treasuries and so much information kept in cathedrals. I understand that when Notre Dame burned down, that there was like a whole huge stories. I think there are 3 stories underneath there that like people didn't know was there. They found all kinds of stuff in there. Also a lead coffin.
Oh.
And nobody knows who's in there. And
they can't open it? Or
I don't know if they can't or if they haven't.
Won't. Okay.
Somebody said, no, it's vampires.
Right.
Someone else said, we're having a bad enough time right now. Don't open the coffin. There might be another curse on it. Right?
Reminds me of some movie documentary where they release the Kraken, not the Kraken, but they release the bad dude.
The demons release it.
The big dude.
And what do you put in a lead coffin? That's kind of intense. That's not a very common thing. So I don't know what's ever happened with that.
Wow.
But there's so many things we just don't hear about. We just aren't educated on. It's fascinating.
You know what? I know. You know what? I got a download the other day where I had watched Infinite Waters. His name is Ralph Smart. Do you know who he is?
I've heard the name. Yeah.
He's really cool. He's English and he's very aware. And he talked about the heat that we're going through on the planet, the high temperatures and stuff like that. And he talked about how that's part of the ascension. We're bringing in light. It heats us up, that kind of thing, so we can call it climate change or whatever you want to call it. But that's the planet is heating up because and I realized, and I've heard this before, Dolores Cannon has talked about it and I have visions of it. Our planet a long, long time ago used to be a paradise all over the planet, tropical paradise all over the planet. Yes. And we extraterrestrials, human and whatever, would come here to vacation, like we go to Hawaii or somewhere to vacation. That's what we would come to this planet to do that. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful planet. And so, but the whole planet was tropical.
Yeah.
And so what I was getting this information as I'm out on the river, I get a lot of stuff on the river while I'm out there, just being with me in the river. I got that we are coming out of a nuclear winter.
Yes.
I
Yep.
had no idea.
I got the same
Did you? Wow.
exact thing. Yes.
That thought had never occurred to me until I watched his video, and I'm like, oh, and they got all that information. It came together. The pieces of the puzzle came together because of the galactic wars, and it could be Atlantis, I don't know, but because of our history with what we did to this planet and humanity, another reset or whatever, and it was nuclear.
Yeah. I've got the same thing.
Wow.
Same exact thing, that we're not supposed to have polar ice caps.
Yeah.
That we know that there was a mass exodus or travel from Europe into North America over a land bridge, that was frozen at one time. But they're like, how could anybody travel that far in frozen land with no food? It's like, no. Wow. It was open and it was green and it was lush, and they followed the food. That's what nomads do. They follow the food. Exactly. They don't walk across, 1,000 miles of frozen tundra. They follow the food.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
And so it's fascinating. The mastodons, I guess, too, even the dinosaurs.
Well, there was some research. My sister said, when I told her about that, she said there was some research, some scientific research that said that the Arctic at one time was tropical.
Well, and the Antarctic, whichever one's the South Pole.
I think that's south.
Yeah, they already know that there's huge forests underneath that ice.
I think Antarctic is north, right?
No,
I don't know. I don't need maybe someone could tell us.
North Pole, South Pole. Who came up with this Arctic thing? But yeah, they already know that there are huge caves underneath all that ice where there were or are, not sure. Yeah. Huge forests with huge trees.
So wow, that's fascinating. So the animals that live in the icy weather would have to have been either brought or over the thousands of years adapting to that weather. So they, like we would adapt. We adapt as children. We adapt really well. As adults, not so well, but
not so good. The penguins and polar bears, they're like, oh man.
I know, right? So they could have been living in paradise, and they just had to evolve in order to survive.
Or they're still
winter.
Walking around going, what the heck is happening? What the heck is happening? When is it going to change? When is it going to change?
But it is, and it is, as the planet heats up, I guess, with our ascension.
Maybe it's how it's supposed to be.
I feel
maybe
that
it's not an unnatural cycle. Maybe it's time for us to come back to that beautiful, tropical, lush that we're supposed to be. If we quit cutting down the forest, that'd be good.
Yeah, I know. Whenever I know when I do, but whenever we look at, Michelle, let me ask you this. So whenever you look at New Earth and envision it, do you ever envision cold temperatures?
No.
I envision tropical.
No, it's 72.3 up to maybe 80.1.
Yeah.
And that's the variant there.
Right. So, that it makes sense.
Yeah.
That as we're moving up into fifth dimension, fourth density, whatever you want to call it, into this ascended space, it would be envisioned that we could make that's happening. Does that make any sense
at all? It does. Maybe it's Mother Earth finding her balance.
Totally.
From a nuclear winter. It's not the rising temperatures. No, and here's another thing too. I got to say this.
Okay.
I was looking at something and I kind of looked into it where they're talking about how they pulled a map of temperatures from like 10 years ago compared to a map of temperatures now. and they're not that different.
Wow.
Except for the
Yeah.
temperatures now, they show them with red. It's hot, but the temperatures are pretty much the same because it changes. Sometimes we have really hot summers, and it changes all over the world. And so there's that.
I know
Interesting.
it is interesting, and it's to push an agenda. I get it. It's to push an
Mhm.
agenda, and when you see through it, you see through it,
Yeah.
and you can't unsee it. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it,
No.
and it's
And you start
all an
seeing all
agenda.
the other things that are funky, weird, that don't make sense.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I know when I lived in Texas and used to come to Oregon to visit my dad when he was still alive once a year, I'd come in August, September, and the temperature would be in the hundreds every once in a while. I'm like, okay, so it's not unusual
Not
at
at
all.
all.
And I've been here back home in Oregon 14 years now. So this was, 20 years ago and longer. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
It, and it changes, and it's part of the whole thing. But I love that idea that Mother Earth is actually rebalancing herself, that she is still recovering
right,
from that nuclear winter. It totally makes sense.
right.
Because if it was meant to be this way all the time, why would they be finding the things they're finding under the ice in both poles?
Exactly. If it was always like that.
Mhm. Not at all.
Mhm.
Not at all. And, there's been so much. And, I know I was probably 15 years old before I realized that humanity was older than 6 or 7,000 years. It was just that kind of what I was being taught in school. It's
Right.
what I was reading and being taught. And it was like, oh, all right. And then also it was like, well, wait, pyramids are 6, 7, 8,000 years old. And wait, what, Noah? Did that only happen 6,000? And I started asking questions, and then all of a sudden, Lucy, remember Lucy, the
Mhm. The
skeleton or the mummy
skeleton,
that showed up? And I was like, what?
supposed to be the first human. Yeah.
The first human, we're talking millions of years ago. And
Right.
that made my little curious, nerdy brain just go, wait just a cotton picking minute. What is happening here? We're not just a few thousand years old.
No.
We're
No.
ancient.
Yeah, we should do a show on all the lies we've been told. Well, I don't know, we could cover them, it'd take days,
I don't know
but
if YouTube would let us put it
I know,
on
right?
there.
Maybe the top 10 lies we've been
Oh,
told.
that is so cool. It'll be
Let's
our
do
first
it.
show that we have to do research.
Yeah.
I'm nerding out already.
Oh yeah, that'll be our next show. How's that? Let's
That's
come up with
cool.
something better.
Let's see. Matter of fact, we're both looking at our calendars.
Top 10 shows.
Next week, we're going to have the Sasquatch gal.
Kelly Butterfly.
Yes, it's going to be
Yeah.
so fun, sassy Sasquatch. So I'm writing it down for the 18th.
18th.
Yep. This
Can't
is going to be
wait.
good. This is going to be good.
We probably already covered all of them, or most of them anyway,
We
but
did. We'll get some more information.
we can put them in a logical, in a chronological order.
And maybe we'll come up with some extra ones.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's
Do a
fascinating.
chart.
Part of the awakening is remembering who we are and remembering our history and our connection to the ETs.
And that was part of that false light thing that I was getting,
Yes.
was that whenever they would send us through the tunnel and zap us with the light, which is, people who have had near-death experiences and are in the light and feel that total love, is very different, what I understand. Okay. Now, when I've been in a space of total, complete love, where it permeates everything within me.
Yeah.
Where I'm part of the light, the love, I don't know what to call it, but if we're getting zapped and electrocuted kind of thing as we come back down the recycle chute to be born into another, body, to forget.
Yeah.
That's not loving.
Yeah. And not ever touching back into that and being
Right.
able to almost like fill back up with that again, and then
Yeah.
decide if we want to come back. If we feel there's so many people who have chosen to come
Right.
back, who are here right now, because of love for Mother Earth and for each other, for humanity, for all of life.
Right. So when we realize it's a choice, that makes all the difference in the world. Because where I'm understanding this false light is, in the article I read, talked about these beings dupe us into making the choice, I guess, or
Yeah.
thinking about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just very disturbing to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Because part of it is we have the free will and they have to honor our free will, but they don't have to be honest.
they don't.
And
Yeah.
they're very sneaky. And we're seeing it now.
And that's not honoring our free will.
Mm-mm.
Definitely. So
Well,
it's tricking, and they've been
Yeah.
tricking us for a very long time. Yeah, very long time. And so we're waking up to that. And the more we wake up to the fact that we are sovereign and we don't have to, we can be discerning, and we can choose to not reincarnate on 3D. We can
Yeah.
come back to earth, definitely. And I've always said since the beginning, I'll be back in 5D.
Yeah.
In the higher planes, but
Yeah.
not in a 3D body, and not on the 3D plane.
No.
I'll
Yeah,
be happy to help. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been my thing this time too. It's like, you know what?
Yes.
I'm not sure how I got coerced into coming back. I know it was my love. It was like, I love them so much. I'll go back one more time. And I'm like, no more.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's a conundrum. And since we don't have our memories
Yeah.
intact, and we get bits and pieces, which is good. That's from the light that's being bombarded on the planet in this
Yeah.
lifetime. So we knew that this was the time. This was the time we had to be here.
Yep.
In order to be able to break that cycle.
Yep.
That our soul has been going through. We're coming from the future, understanding that. And I feel that we're here from the future, you and I especially, and others, like us, and seeing that, okay, well, we got to go through this in order to be here in this time and help and assist this planet, this beautiful, beautiful planet and humanity.
And holding that God light, that Christ light.
Yes.
Like people talk about, we're holding that light, so it cannot be dimmed. So that false light also cannot be dimmed. I mean, that's what I'm getting right now. Right. It's like you're holding that light here on that planet. Right. We are holding that light. And so it can no longer be presented. And stepping off that wheel of karma. I remember years ago, I was doing a class and it came through me really strong. We are here to step off the wheel of karma. And I was like, what a concept.
I know. Yeah.
And we really are.
We can. It's just a matter of knowing how.
Yeah.
Knowing how.
And it's love.
Yeah.
Jesus gave us the key. Love one another. Right? Just love. Right. That's all. Just do it. Just love. Love yourself. Love one another.
In the Law of One, I talk about that a lot because I just love those teachings.
So good.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is, I'm sure I've said it before, is, in forgiveness lies the stoppage of the wheel of karma.
Yeah. And it's forgiving ourselves too. And it's so hard because a lot of people think that when they forgive, they're saying what happened to them was okay. And the perpetrators of whatever happened, that it's okay, that letting them off the hook. It's like, that is not what forgiveness is. It means that those experiences, those even we create identities around our traumas. Yeah. It's like we let go of those things just so it no longer controls us. Right. Yeah. And so we even need to forgive those entity beings or whatever it is that created that loop of karma. We need to even forgive them.
Or just forgive the situation, right? Yeah. And realize, hey, we're here for a reason. And we made that agreement. Obviously, we still make agreements.
Yep.
To experience it, so we can be here to talk about it. And we never die. We never die. We we are eternal. So, and and whatever's going on in the world right now feeds into that fear of death.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
we don't die. We are eternal. This is an
Mhm.
experience, and we continue on. And the
Yep.
more we realize that, and the more we realize that we are these immense, amazing beings who hold a lot of light as long as we allow it,
Yeah.
then nothing can touch us.
And we are creators. We
Yeah,
create our experiences. What are you creating? Where are you focusing your energy? Your
right.
sacred divine energy. Right. That's why for so long now, it's like, quit watching the news, quit focusing on the crap, quit, because we do that and it gets in our head. I mean, I watched some news thing not too long ago, and it was literally stuck in my head. I would wake up in the middle of the night thinking about what I don't remember, because I did like a full-on violet flame purging, like get out,
Yeah.
and it gets stuck in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's their reason for it. I mean, I
Mhm.
heard a song the other day, and it's an amazing song because he talks about, I think it's called I Told You So. But he in part of it he says, I told you that the flicker rate on television causes the alpha state. That's
Yep.
hypnosis.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
whatever, when we're watching TV, and I'm just as guilty of watching things that I shouldn't be watching, like I was, shows that the warrior thing, I'm really up on the warrior thing, right? But it sticks with us.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we are feeding
Mhm.
our psyche with that type of
Yeah.
information, and the news. It's not new, it's all propaganda. But I feel it's okay to be aware of what's going on,
Mhm.
right?
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's when you feed yourself, when your diet
Exactly.
becomes
With the
that.
bad
Yeah.
stuff, and you get caught up in it, and we get caught up in those things, and it um triggers our emotion in a
The triggering, yeah, big
negative
time.
way. Yeah. Then then they've won.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, and guess what, we're feeding the loose
We're
eaters.
feeding the loosh. Well, and you know what I do, and I always feel kind of silly when I do it, but I do it anyways. When I sit down, and I'm telling you, I love my Netflix movies. I love my rom-coms. I've been watching Skinwalker Ranch. It got really freaking scary. I was like, should I be watching this? I got to stop for a while, and then I was like, let's go back and peek. But what I do is I wrap my TV in the violet flame, a limitless transmutation. I run it through my chakras, and I wrap it around me. I wrap it around my cat. I fill the house with it. And it's like, all right, let's go. Because
Nice.
if you do it consciously and you're consciously aware of what you're interacting with, you can glean the information, right? But you want to use a protection. I'm a huge proponent of the violet flame. Cut the cords when you're done,
Right.
especially if you're watching scary, creepy, ghosty things.
I can't
Cut the
watch those anymore.
cords.
Yeah. Yeah. I like watching what I normally watch is the good versus evil fight,
The sci-fi stuff too.
sci-fi. Yes,
Yeah,
I learned so much. And a lot of it is documentary, like Star Trek documentaries.
totally. I've been watching Stargate, what,
Oh,
SG1,
SG1, yeah.
and it's like, oh, that's interesting. That's where they came up with it. It was like, or is that what they were telling us? It's like, what's happening? And so much of that good versus evil, it's what's been happening in our entire universe for probably billions of years.
Right.
You
Right. Because
know,
we're in that fight now. We're in that
Mhm.
fight.
Fight for the soul.
So,
I had someone came out and said it flat up. We are in a fight for our souls. Quit effing around. I was like,
that's
ooh,
why we're here. And we, Michelle and I talked about this before, that we have been doing this for so long, in this battle, in the galactic wars, that kind of thing.
yeah,
And we've been on the front lines
yeah.
many times. I have, and you probably do, Michelle, as
Oh,
well, have
big time.
memory of being on as a soldier, Palladian. I have memory of being a Palladian female soldier, female
Mhm.
Palladian soldier.
Mhm.
And so I'm being told that we've put in our put in our time on the front lines.
Yeah.
And so now we are here to defeat, I guess you could say, the darkness with light and love.
Yeah. It's like we're the generals in the back holding it, you know, and there's still some foot soldiers.
Yeah.
You know, we still need those foot soldiers out there with their pickets lines, you know, and their things, but yeah, absolutely. And many of us who've been soldiers in the, you know, galactic wars have been soldiers here too,
Totally.
you know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Because I've always been so drawn. Oh my gosh. People think I'm crazy. So drawn to the King Arthur stuff.
Oh, me too.
So
Yeah.
drawn to Tolkien, to the Lord of the Rings, you know, even so drawn to the Harry Potter stuff. It's fascinating, well written, beautiful stuff, but it's always that fight for good and evil.
Yeah.
And I know that I had a friend of mine, it's been 15 years ago, and a friend of mine had a friend come into the shop that I was working at the time. I was psychic in a shop. And he was one of those, I think, Civil War reenactments kind of thing.
Mhm.
And he had a sword, like his sword with him. And I said, oh my gosh, can I pick that up? And he's like, yeah, pick it up. And it was pretty long. It was pretty big. I was younger then. I had more muscles. And I pulled that thing out of the scabbard, and that sound, that ring, 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 like my whole body went in the stance, and I held the sword up to him, and he's like, holy crap. And I'm like, I don't know what just happened. And he goes, well, you've been a warrior sometime in your life. You were holding it and standing exactly the way you're supposed to.
Wow.
Like you have been trained. And I'm like, don't F with me, dude. And he goes, I will not.
Wow.
Isn't
That's
it? And
amazing.
it's like that body memory and
Right.
that sound is like, whoa.
There's so many things that can trigger us. That reminds me of when I was at a Shasta conference recently at Mount Shasta, and this one gentleman, he was, he said that he had a booth. I don't remember what he was doing, what he was selling or giving away. I think he was giving away some cool stuff. He wanted to, I don't remember how the conversation started, but what he did was he took his sword and he kneeled in front of me, and he bowed and he called me a Valkyrie. A Valkyrie
I
with
just
his
totally
sword.
felt that.
And I felt like I was just, I mean, I've done this before. This is, yeah, I felt it all the way down to my soul memory. I don't know if it was him in particular,
or he recognized you as
yeah,
Valkyrie, which is basically an angelic being. It's of the Nordic or the Viking, I guess it would be called Nordic.
Viking, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Valkyrie.
Yeah.
It's the great ones. Like, it's kind of like archangels, I guess, would be, but in form.
Yeah.
That's
and
pretty
they are warriors, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Help bring the dead across too.
You bet they are.
Hello.
Archangel Michael just went, they put me to shame.
I doubt it.
He's laughing. He's doing this. He's doing this.
Oh.
Yeah, there's so many of these things that, you know, it's just, and it's fascinating. And I love it that this information and the downloads and stuff are all coming back for us to begin to remember we've walked in many universes for so long. And I know one of the things that freaked me out watching, I think it was Star Wars, when they're flying, you know, and you see, like, you're looking out the window, you know, as they're flying through everything.
Yeah.
That used to make you like, I've been there before, you know, I know that flying through the universe feeling, you know, I know I was, it must have been a pilot or whatever they call those guys for the ships. And I just watched Independence Day the other day because it's just such a great movie. And it was Will Smith and Goldblum, Jeff Goldblum, and they're hilarious, but they're flying and zoom. And I'm like, yes, I just have that in my soul.
Oh, totally. I know.
I
I have
love it.
tons of out-of-body experiences. I'm going to say at least 10, maybe, over the years, over the many years, 20 or something years of doing, having conscious out-of-body experiences, of being in my own little personal spaceship
Yeah.
and
Yep.
flying it.
Yep.
And that's why I like muscle cars and driving fast. And
Yes.
I mean, just zooming through space. And yeah, so
it's so cool.
it is very cool.
You know, part of, and I've actually recently had dreams. I think I even shared it in our lucid dreaming class about dreaming of being in a spaceship, but it was created by my consciousness. It's like like it was there, and then I moved into it, and then it became my consciousness. And on the Skinwalker Ranch show, they had some UAPs, which are, I learned, unidentified aerial phenomena, right? I'm like,
right, that's the new
what's UAP, UFO?
It's the new way to describe them. Yeah,
right. And they're showing this thing and they're catching it. They've got cameras everywhere, and they're all scientists. I love the show. And they're showing this thing and it's spinning, and all of a sudden I went, it's a freaking Merkaba. And
oh
I'm
my God.
yelling. Yeah, I'm yelling at the guys on. I'm like, it's a Merkaba. It's a Merkaba.
My sister has a photo of a Merkaba ship, a light ship at ESETI.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And it's our light body. We all have Merkabas. That's why I do all my prayers that I do. We call in the Merkaba because it is our light body.
Right. It's our vehicle.
Yep. And they're
use it as a vehicle
out there.
Yeah.
Those, and it's all those circles, those light circles.
Right. Orbs.
Not the orbs, the actual UAPs that are the white lights. I mean, that are white circles. They're Merkabas spinning very, very quickly. What they're traveling.
Well, they're
the little ones, not the big ones.
An orb is just a circular.
Yeah, but these aren't orbs. These are like physical ships.
Okay.
But the ships are actual Merkabas.
But they don't see them with their eyes.
Yeah, they
see
do.
them with their eyes. Oh, okay.
Oh, they're on film. They're the whole sheboygan.
Yeah, the camera picks them up, but do they see them with their physical eyes? Oh,
absolutely, they do. Big time.
Cool. So they're moving in a dimension, though, right?
Yeah. Well, they not to be a spoiler, but there's portals all over the place.
Oh, totally.
And they're actually using all this super advanced scientific equipment and really advanced scientists.
Right.
And they're beginning to discover what a portal really is. And then the end of the season came. It's like,
season 3. They always do that. A cliffhanger.
I have to wait until like February 2023. I'm like, no. But it's, and can you imagine?
You know what? Go ahead.
If we can actually discover what portals are, we can begin using them. Yeah. We know they're there.
Well, Secret Space Program, I believe, has been doing that for a very long time. Yeah.
Another vast information that we've not been told.
Right. Or taught. But we were taught in the Essene school, the mystery schools. We were taught all that. But it's been removed from our memory. I mean, our conscious memory. We were taught to do that. And I was telling Michelle, I'm reading the book, listening, Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, if anyone's, it's probably about 10 years old, but it's really good stuff. And she talks about being in the scene. It's channeled, but a lot of it resonates with me so far. I'm about 3/4 of the way through, I think. And being in a scene, priestess, high priestess.
Yeah.
And she's able to do that. And she's lived 600 something years. And she talks about how she was able to bring in so much light into her physical body, like we were talking about earlier. We're coming kind of full circle, to keep her body young and put herself in stasis too, as well, and regenerate, that kind of thing. Yeah. It's really good stuff. So she talks about all the things that we are able to do. We just it's been taken away from us.
It's been hidden.
We've kind of been lobotomized.
A little bit. That's why it's time to raid the Vatican, because a lot of the stuff is in those places there that they've put them away.
But she talks about the portals and, going back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And being able to create those, our portals, your own portal and move into and communicate with the higher beings.
Yeah.
And Archangel Gabriel was uh, one of the archangels that worked a lot with her. And
Yeah, Gabriel was really active with all those Jesus and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene.
yeah,
Archangel Gabriel is a big part of that whole
right.
journey that they were on. But I'm going to read that book. I love that because it goes along with this book I'm reading that is called God Man, the Word Made Flesh,
I'm going to get
where it
that one.
talks about the stories of Jesus, stories in the Bible, and how they relate to the physical body, which again is going to be the same thing. How do we learn to fully activate our light body if we don't understand how all the stories and stuff are telling us how to do it?
Relearn,
Relearn, and we're
recall.
doing it. It's coming. It's becoming accessible now.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like I can't read fast enough. So you mentioned the audiobooks, and I just discovered, audiobooks. Like I want to read Dolores Cannon's the one that you were reading, that you were just talking about a bit ago.
Oh,
And I
Convoluted
was like,
Universe series.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
And it's like,
Good
oh,
stuff.
I'm getting that on Audible. It's like, there's no way I'm reading 5 of these big old thick books. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be sleeping with those puppies.
It's mind pretzel kind of stuff. It's really good stuff. I know, I love that too.
I'm such a nerd. I know you all think I'm totally cool. Eh.
You're a cool nerd. So am I. We're
I'm
cool
a
nerds.
nerd.
I know, right?
I'm a nerd to the bone.
And I bet there's some other cool nerds out there watching.
Cool nerds. We need a cool nerd song.
We do.
Cool nerd theme song.
Right. All right.
Awesome. This has been so fun.
Yeah, as always.
I love talking about all this stuff. It's so wonderful, Sharon, to have someone that we can just start branching. It's 5:55 here on the West Coast right now. Shift and change, my friends.
Mhm.
That we can talk about this stuff, and we always bounce off of each other, and it's so wonderful. And I really hope that our viewers are just able to absorb this and understand that, it is mind pretzel stuff, like Sharon just said. It's totally mind pretzel. And sometimes you got to listen to it kind of over and over, and make sure, go do a research of your own. Go check it out on your own. There's so much out there. Thank you, Google. Right?
Or DuckDuckGo.
Or DuckDuckGo. Or Safari on my phone.
Yeah.
We have access to so much more than we ever have. And, the secret transcripts, like the Nag Hammadi, even though it was found, Dead Sea Scrolls, it was found a while ago. Not all the information has been released, but it's slowly coming up, slowly getting released.
Yeah. I was listening to Billy Carson a little while ago, and he talks about the Nag Hammadi, and that's on my list. Definitely. I haven't read it.
Yeah.
But there's a 9-minute video that he talks about the different dimensions succinctly in about 9 minutes.
Wow.
And the matrix, and yeah, I'll put the link down in the details because it's really good stuff.
Yeah, that'd be so good. That'd be so good, because this is how we're going to grow. This is how we're creating the new earth, is with all the knowledge. And we have it, and understand too, and this is something really cool, because we talk about like getting downloads and stuff like that. Remember, all of this knowledge is encoded in our DNA. It's all in there. We have it all within us. That is part of the knowledge and wisdom that's beginning to be remembered through us too.
Yeah.
It's like we have it all within, and it's learning, it's sitting in meditation, it's asking the questions, it's being in that, where receive, download, uploads, right? Because it's not always coming from somewhere out there. It's inside of us.
So isn't our DNA recorders? Our DNA is recorders.
They are
and our
recorders.
RNA is senders.
Yep.
Information senders, where our DNA is
senders and receivers.
Yeah.
Just like our pineal gland.
Yeah.
Sending and receiving. Our chakras.
Right.
Sending and receiving, creating that toroidal field. We're just a great big huge electromagnetic awesomeness.
Awesomeness, right? I know, what word is there?
We're
Just a,
so awesome.
we are, when you think about how how God, Goddess, the all that is, supreme being, infinite intelligence, um, create what it took to create us and everything.
It's just,
It's beyond our imagination,
it's,
beyond what we could comprehend.
oh yeah. Just our bodies.
Right.
I mean, these beautiful healing machines, you know, our bodies can heal from anything and adapt and evolve and grow and shift and change. And it's like, whoa, what brilliant being designed this puppy? Because it's gorgeous.
Right. Amazing. Totally.
I'm
Totally
saying
amazing.
the 2.0, it needs to not have the whole poop thing though. I'm done with that whole thing. That
Okay,
is a faulty planning right
we
there.
can eat, but not have to go to the bathroom. Our body assimilates it in a different way to where we express we don't have any waste.
Don't have any waste. Well, and there was something, oh my gosh, they were talking about Tartaria and some of the castles, these huge castles that have been, were from that era or have the technology. They didn't have bathrooms.
They didn't
And
need
they're
them.
like, they had plumbing, they had electricity, right? They had huge, massive fountains in the front yard. They had running water, but they didn't have toilets. They're like, why? Who lived there? What beings lived there? I thought that was so fascinating.
Well, so they maybe didn't eat.
Maybe they
Didn't
didn't
need to eat, so they live off light.
I mean,
Interesting.
that just opens like a whole other possibility.
Doesn't it? Yeah. I kind of feel like the fifth dimension is we can eat if we want. We don't have to, maybe if we don't want to. We can
Yeah.
eat for enjoyment if we want, but we don't have to if we don't want to. You know,
Begin
the
to
frequency is going to be
assimilate.
so high, is so high.
Yeah.
And you know, when we're in that really high frequency state, we're in 5D.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it just transmutes whatever, it transforms whatever needs to.
Yeah.
We can eat M&Ms all day long. Yes.
Mine is ice cream.
Yeah, I got a little.
It has to be non-dairy though. But hey, maybe in 5D it doesn't matter.
Ooh, you can have delicious Tillamook strawberry ice cream.
Oh.
So good. Oh my gosh, I gotta go.
Okay, yes.
I gotta go get me some ice cream.
Thank you. I have to go eat some dinner. All right.
Thank you, everybody, for being here, for watching, for sticking through this whole conversation. We're kind of leaving you with wide open brains, and now we're going bye-bye. We're not even going to tie up the ends because we don't want to. We want you to go out there and look and continue on and investigate and give us comments. Let us know, subscribe. Let's all be a part of this together.
Yeah, thank you for being here once more, and we love you, love you, love you. And go out there and spread your light, spread your smile, spread your love.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mwah. Bye-bye.